Welcome to the show where we have real talk with real people about the real issues that are impacting our business and employees every day. The way we choose to treat our people in our organizations who experience real life issues will define the level of engagement and loyalty of your employees. Because people are business. Welcome to The Risk Factor with JEremy Torisk. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. The first edition of The Risk Factor. And today is a very special day for many reasons. Actually, I just love doing things for the first time, kind of like walking that tightrope without a net. Doing it live is another level of risk. And thank you for Gabe for helping me really understand Gabe Leon. Lieb kind of is my driving force to say, you know, if he could do it in the way he does it and with consistency that he does it, and then also the team Noodleberg, the Daily Huddle, and everybody who supports us, just allows me to feel comfortable taking this risk. So on the first day of the Risk Factor, I thought it only appropriate to bring on the person who actually named the show. My little sister, basically in business and life, is KIM SWEERS, the boat boss and the managing partner of FB Marines, is my guest today. In a casual conversation, she just kind of said, Jeremy, why don't you have a show called The Risk Factor by JEremy Torisk? And after I got up off the floor, I said, you know, that's a good idea. I think I'm going to put it together. But I want it to be about real issues and talk about the things that affect people, like in their business and in their home life. So Kim has been through, I always say you have to go through the mill to make a mill. And Kim has been through the mill, and she's made a few mill, I think. So let's bring on our guest today, our first guest for the Risk Factor, KIM SWEERS, the boat boss.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, I forgot to give you the standing ovation here. So I don't know if you could hear it, but this is live, so let's go with it. How are you doing? Thank you for everything that you do for me and my family, and I appreciate you in my life.
Well, so do I have to tell you. And I welcome everyone that's watching, and thanks for tuning in. This is a really cool thing that, you know, we were just sitting around. I remember we were doing a video shoot for another business endeavor that you and I are involved in, and we were just talking about the risk factor. You know, how your name had the risk in it, R-I-S-K, and look at us now. Now the show is here. And it's catchy, and it has a great cause and mission. So wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you. And we got our first comments. Christian White, you know, he is also a huge supporter of us, and so we appreciate the views. We appreciate the comments. We want this to be an interactive show, so I will definitely be paying attention to the comments. So definitely feel free to partake. So let's get into exactly why we're here. We're here to talk about your life, how you came to be a managing partner at FB Marines. What kind of scale was that? Because it's a business that you started with. Well, you came into the existing business, but you grew over time a very large organization. Maybe not the scale of hundreds of employees, but 30 employees at one time. And that's probably about where you are now. It's a big organization to run. Just kind of tell us how that came around, and then what happened to you, your real life problem that affected you and your business and your family.
Well, I met my guy I was dating back then, who's now Randy, who's obviously involved in my life, the father of my son, business partner. And so we ended up dating, and he told me about this business that he was involved in, and it was buying and selling boats. And I was already in corporate America, vice president of a data networking company. We built data networks around the world. So I have this very technical brain and process procedures, you know, everything that comes with corporate America. So we started talking about his business, and I started really crunching some numbers and what he was making off of like a brokerage boat, which a consignment boat, versus when we partnered in to buy a boat and renovate it, refit it. There was a lot more profit in that for us, and it's a lot more rewarding too. And so we ended up going into business together, and I just became an investor, and eventually with the dot-com bust that happened in 2001, and my career ended in corporate America. A lot of people were laid off, and I was, after I laid off a lot of people, I was laid
Wow.
off. And so, yeah, so I was like,
Been
wow,
there,
what do I
done
do?
that.
Right? And
Yes.
I had a goal to become a CEO of a company, a public company, by the time I was 38. And at that time I was 32, I think, or 33. And I was like, what do I do now?
Right.
Middle managers and vice presidents were not needed at the time. And so I found myself overqualified for a lot of stuff. And so I said, well, I'll take what I know from corporate America and what I've learned and brought it to the business I invested in with Randy. And we became this, what we are today. So we're not just consignment anymore. We do boats, buy and sell boats.
Yes.
We service
Badass boats
parts.
too, if I may say.
Yeah. So we've
And so-
taken the business.
Yeah. So when you got into that business and you started really taking it to the next step, what was your role? How did that grow in your day-to-day involvement, and how much time were you investing every day in growing that business? And then with the birth of your son Chase, and how'd that play into it, being a new mom?
That is a great question. I remember it vividly because when you're in a startup, you do a lot of hats, you wear a lot of hats. And so I remember an instance where I had just had Chase and I was on my maternity leave, which was like a few days into it. And Randy was like, listen, I need this boat up on the internet right now, please. And so I was, breastfeeding, internet, doing all that stuff. So it a lot of hats. I wore a lot of hats a very long time ago. And I still do. But we've hired some amazing people that are lifers with us now. 17 years, 15, 14. We have some major long-term team members.
That's saying a lot. When you have people that work for you for that long, that's hot.
Thank you. I love that little effect. That's really cool. Yeah, so we ended up.
Yeah, so now you got something kind of a new element. You got Chase, and now you have multiple employees, and the pressure is building, right? Because it's not just your little family; it's other employees' families.
Oh yeah, and you realize that when your company grows, how many mouths you feed. Not only it's your team members, we don't call our people employees, we call them team members, and so I like that effect.
That's hot.
So as you realize any impact on your business, good or bad, affects their lives, whether they get raises or there's a recession or something, layoffs, it affects not only them, their family, their grandparents, whoever it might be, their parents, whoever they care for. So it really became full circle during the pandemic when the phone stopped ringing pretty quickly. People weren't buying boats. We had a ton of inventory. And all of a sudden we looked around and we had, 30 plus employees. And we are responsible for all these people. And these people care for their mothers were living with them. They had, a bunch of kids. You realize we have some couples that are actually husband and wife that work for us. So their household could have been devastated by us closing or not keeping our doors open. So I made photos of a collage of all of our team members and their kids, not them, their kids. And it was like this big thing that stuck in my office, and when I wasn't into working or I didn't want to get up or do what I needed to do to keep the business open and alive, I looked at that collage and realized that these are the people that will be affected. And that put my feet on the floor every single day, is that how many lives would be affected by us not getting up and making the bacon.
Exactly. That's how I always look at my business with Garrett. Is it's not just the 5 employees he has, it's the 3.5 kids each one of those guys have, and other people that are depending on them, and it just goes outward. So so let's go back just a little bit before the pandemic, though, because you had a major health event, and that's really the crux of this show, is about how we handle as employers for our employees, but also now for you were a major portion driver of the business, and you had an event. Can we talk about that and kind of unpack that, as Mark Noodleberg would say?
Oh, I'll unpack it. All right. It was definitely one of those moments. You're in the best. I was in the best shape of my life. I have these things called AOIs in my life, and AOIs are my areas of interest, from faith, family, philanthropy, business, wealth, health, you name it, fitness. I had them all juggling perfectly, at least is what I thought. And then I got diagnosed with cancer, but it wasn't something where I just went to an appointment not knowing something was up. The signs were there. And what I mean by
Wow.
that, I was diagnosed February 28th of 2014. In 2013, there was a string of signs, and I don't believe in signs, but I do now, because there's, you know, whether you call it signs or God's plan or whatever, the
Yeah.
universe, whatever you believe in, it was evident. And so what was really apparent was this finger right here, ironically enough.
Hold on, you get
This,
both.
so my middle finger on my right hand was turning purple and
What?
numb. Yeah, and it would just come and then it would just subside. And then my back was hurting me. I would drive my car with my arm around the passenger, like trying to stretch it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't feeling good. I was really super, super tired. And then what really caught my attention was I went to the gym one day, and this lady walks up to me and says, Miss, you really shouldn't wear your cell phone in your bra. So I always had my cell phone right here
Mm.
on my right side, inside my bra, whether I was working out, cooking, it was just convenient.
Yeah.
And not that that was the cause of it, could have been.
Don't know.
We don't
Yeah.
know yet. Time will tell
Right.
as we do more research. But this woman walked up to me and said, you really shouldn't wear your phone in your bra, sports bra, because, you know, with the cell phones and brain cancer, and I was like, at first I was like, who is she, you know, to tell me that? And then as I laid my head on the pillow at night, which is a message that I'll share with you later on, I evaluate my day.
Yeah.
What was I being told that day? And it was evident that that was a message. And so I ended up reflecting on it. I no longer wore my phone in my bra anymore. I
Yeah.
took it out and wore it right here on my sleeve. And then from there, I went to get a facial one day, and she was just, you know, and then she noticed it again right here. Someone said to me, what's this thing right here? And my cancer wasn't on my breast, it was all the way up high. So it
Wow.
probably wouldn't have been detected in a normal mammogram ultrasound.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really, really high up here. So all these signs were happening, the finger, the lady, you know, someone finding it that wasn't me. And I didn't really even look for it. I didn't feel it. And so I made the appointment, and they couldn't do a biopsy because it was in a spot where the vein would cause, the needle biopsy would cause massive bleeding. They said, we can wait, or we can extract it via surgery. And I don't wait. If there's something that's wrong and all these signs, I said, you know, we need to fix this. And so I went in for surgery to have it removed. The doctor came out and said, looks great. It's probably not cancer. You're good, but we're going to send it to pathology anyway. And
Right.
then went back to the gym. My life was like all happy. I didn't think it was cancer. And then I got the phone call that I needed to be at the doctor's the next day. And that was
Oh.
Thursday. It was Thursday, the 27th, February. And I ended up, again, the signs were there. I was like, oh no. So I walk into my oncologist's office, and who was now going to be my oncologist, and it was packed with people. And it was like, oh my God, you know, look at this. This is a big business. You know, cancer is a big business. And I was like, I don't have cancer, but deep down inside, I knew I was there for a reason. And so they took me right in, which was another sign. I was like, you know, you walk in, they whisked me right to the room, and I was starting to sweat. And then doctor came in, who was a good friend of ours, and was talking like, you know, small talk. And then it got quiet, and I'm gonna start crying. And
Yeah.
he said, you have cancer. And I passed out practically. I had, and that will be another story I'll tell you about, but basically I had epilepsy at the time, and I ended up having a seizure from the news, and woke up and was like, okay, what now? And so I cried for like 2 days straight. It was really hard to realize that you have this perfect life and you're in perfect condition, and then all of a sudden you just get sideswiped. And I was young at the time, and doesn't run in my family. My great grandmother had it, and it's not like everyone that we knew had it in our family. It was here and there. But so after feeling really sad and sorry for myself, I said, you know what, there's hope. Let's take this head on. And so I did. I got up, I put my big girl panties on,
Wow.
and said, let's fight this. And that was the fight of my life, because there was a lot of issues and challenges that came up over the way.
And how old was Chase now at this time?
Yeah, Chase was young. Chase was, I think, let's see, I think he was 8 at the time, 7 at the time. Yeah.
And he so we're close. So I've heard the story, but I want you to kind of touch on how he kind of realized what was going on, because you tried to keep it from him, right?
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. There's these little books that I got at Barnes and Noble, and it's like mother and son. They're like really small books, and it's father and son. I gave one to Randy, one to me, and in it tells you like little advice that you should do with your son. And one of them was, at the very end, it was leave a legacy after you're dead, that he will carry that on. And I remember I was on the phone with my friend Shin cooking dinner, and I know we hadn't told Chase that I had cancer. We sort of told him that mom wasn't well, and he came out and said, with the book in his hand, and said, "Are you going to die?" And he started crying, and Randy was out of town, and I held that child for a good hour, and he cried and cried. "I want to lose you. I want you to die."
Oh, how old
And
was he?
He was like 8 at the time. 7,
8.
I
Okay,
think.
8.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he knows
it
what
was.
dying is at some level. Then just means you're not going to be in his life anymore. So he really, that hurts my heart to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. It was sad. It was a sad day. It hit hard. And my assistant, who I had his nanny, had a family issue and moved back to Brazil, and so I ended up going through cancer by myself. And that was meaning there was a big support system around me. My identical twin sister Carrie was my rock, and then there was another group of women. My family obviously embraced around me, but there's nothing like having a core group of people around you. And I remember Carrie was my go-to, and then another woman, Gail Butler, who's big in South Florida, Marty Huizenga, Alice Jackson, whose husband runs AutoNation, and Doreen Koenig, who's no longer with us, and neither is Marty Huizenga. But these women just wrapped themselves around me and became my support system, and I couldn't have done what I did without them, because they gave me that hope. Because when you're told that you've got cancer and you're like, you don't know what that means, and then all of a sudden you rely so much on your people and that hope that they were giving me.
Yeah, one of the worst things you could have in life is no hope.
Yeah. Yes.
So how did the comeback start?
Yeah.
What was the time you planted your foot in the ground and just said no?
Well, I remember specifically one day I had radiation, and Chase was on the couch. I was on the couch, and Chase was playing his video games, and I was exhausted. I had 40 plus rounds of radiation, and radiation is just as tiring, if not more, than chemo. It's rough. It's every day, you're in there getting it done. And for me, I got hit hard from it. I was really tired. I had this metallic taste in my mouth. I was bleeding all over. And so Chase said to me, with not having my assistant and having Randy out of town, he said, "What do people do, that don't have family?" And that kid sat on the couch and played video games for like 10 hours. I was just eat snacks in the drawer. Mommy needs to sleep. And I remember that day. And so that was the day that we created Chase's, the thought for his foundation, which is now C3 for Change, C3C, and then 3 for change.org. And it stands for Coins Curing Cancer. And we created an idea I turned fear into hope and made Chase realize that there's always the silver lining in every situation, whether it be good or bad. And let's find the silver lining here. And that was that we could help people with Mom's voice and Mom's platform. And Chase, you could, basically rally and engage people to follow you as a youngster and for someone that has a mom with cancer. And so we ordered these clear boxes that in these coin boxes, and we put
Yeah.
Chase's charity on it. And we ended up giving them to hospitals and businesses and things like that. And we raised a lot of money. I was shocked how much money was coming in. And so I sat on the board of the Community Foundation of Broward, and Linda Carter, which was another one of my mentors, still is. She said, "Let us take it over. Let us run it for you." And then it just took off from there. And Chase has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars just through his link on his website, c3forchange.org, and through coins that we were collecting at like Moffitt Cancer Center, where I was treated. We put them all over businesses in South Florida, and people were just giving and giving. And so that coins went to TD Bank, who was our partner at the time. And we put them in the penny bank. I don't know, penny was that coin thing. And Chase would, love to take that. And that became money in his bank account. And then we made big check presentations.
So it gave him a purpose.
Did.
It gave him a purpose to help and do something, to lend some sort of action to, help his mom. And so I bet that was a huge deal. And that was his idea, right?
It was his idea. Yeah, he's like, what can we do? And at that time, we had this like massive water, those Zephyr Hills big water jugs that you have 5 gallons. And we had it was almost to the top with coins and dollars. And it was thousands of dollars from that one, container alone. And that it just took off from there. And so Chase really turned fear with me into hope. And from there, we did a big check to Holy Cross Hospital in Doreen Koenig's honor for the cancer unit, Moffitt Cancer Center. We did AutoNation Drive Pink. Chase raised tons of gas money for the cars that AutoNation donated for the people that couldn't afford to drive to their, to drive to their.
That is so big, because who thinks of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, my mind never stops. I tell you, it keeps going and going and going. But from there, now I sit on the board of Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, which is one of the largest, if not the best, National Cancer Institute certified. There's many cancer hospitals out there, but all Moffitt does is just cancer.
Well, I want to unpack, go back just a little bit. First, I want to acknowledge everyone who's just lighting up the comments. Christian White, Peter A, Stuart Goffman, and I'm going to, Peter, Ego, Peter A.
Peter A. We'll call him Peter A.
Lasatis. I usually nail the last names. This one's tough, but sorry, Pete. Randy Ostro. Everyone knows him as Peter A. He's in the rally. I shouldn't have done that live.
I love it.
And Andrea's on. Larry Long. I mean, you've got so much support. So
Hi,
many
everyone.
people that love you,
So nice.
And Donna Goldfarb is chiming in. So we appreciate everyone. So I want to go back and talk about how you reintegrated into your business and who ran the business. It really who pitched in, and really how did that survive? And then how did you reintegrate? How long was that whole process?
We just pivoted. That's the key word of 2020, the pivot and the big pivot. And so I come from an IT background. And so we immediately made the business like what the world is experiencing now. We became virtual. Everything was work from home for me. A lot of the times, I would schedule my radiation at 7:15 in the morning. And Doreen Koenig, who's the City Furniture family, and Andrew and Darren and Keith, lovely family. And so she would meet me at radiation every morning. And I remember when I checked in for my very first radiation, I cried. I got to the front desk, cried, and I turned around and she had walked in and was sitting there waiting for her appointment. And Doreen wrapped her arms around me and became my rock during all this. And unfortunately, she succumbed to the disease and is no longer with us. Such a shame. But she and I, every single morning for 40 plus sessions, we're there, supporting each other. And so from what I did is I pivoted the business. So I started my radiation. My first radiation was at 7:15 to 7:30. And then from there, I went to work and worked like a dog. If you've ever had radiation, it doesn't hit you immediately. It hits you like a few hours later. So at least you have that time to get to work, hustle your ass off, your butt off.
Gosh.
If it's, I got to keep it G-rated. And so I did that. And then by like 1 o'clock, I was done. I was driving home, like falling asleep, and then I would sleep the entire rest of the day. So that's pretty much what I did, is that I had a great group of people around me, and you just got to listen to what your needs are. And I pivoted my work schedule. I woke up earlier. I woke up at, I wake up at 4 o'clock every single morning.
Yep.
And lately it's been like 3:45. So I don't know what's going on, but so anyway, I pivoted myself to wake up earlier and still have the same amount of hours in the day. It's just that those 8 hours went like that.
They shift. Yeah.
And then just having great people around me. My team was awesome. My team at FB Marine have been like amazing, and my family, and everyone just chipped in. And it's not like I didn't have cancer. The whole business had cancer. And they and we created a campaign called Feel Your Buoys, like your buoys, and like a boat buoy. And we're really excited about the campaign. We trademarked the saying. We're going to roll it out with the Marine Retailers Association across America, so all dealers can participate in it and really make it an industry and initiative. But we really, really do need to get the awareness out that my cancer was caught early in a place that in a mammogram would not have been found. And it was up here, and there's not a lot of flesh. Your lungs are right there. And I remember one doctor said, it's like, if it wouldn't have been found, it could have been worse than it was. And I remember that comment, and that struck me as, how lucky I am, and never take anything for granted.
Yep. And for the listeners, it's up here right below your collarbone, basically.
Yeah.
So wow.
Right.
Well, Peter Ray says, great story. I mean, you've got so much support. We are very lucky to be in this community. And so any last parting words for the guest and listening now live?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, like I said, there's a silver lining to everything in your life. Every day I lay my head on the pillow at night, and most people watch TV. I do not watch TV when I get into bed. What do? I put some, nice music on, turn the lights down, and I time block, and I learned that from the huddle. I didn't know what it was, how important it was. And, Steve and Mark and all them were like, time block. And I even bought the timers where I would like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I would go through that at night when I was in bed and said to myself, what did I learn? What did I learn from that appointment? What was good? What was bad? And so that's what the message of this is that, cancer sucks. I got it. But they say that, two best days of your life are the day you were born and the day you know why. And when I was told I had cancer, my why became so apparent, because I was so involved with animals.
That's huge. No one gets 3 lightning bolts. That is
so
really big. The day you're born and the day you know why.
You know why. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so my why became cancer. So a lot of my initiatives that we were involved in, pets, mental health, education, cancer, all these things that we were involved in, really, I started to hone down on just cancer. And that really became, and I remember the words that Linda Carter and Marty Huizenga said to me, and Gail Butler, do less and be more. And so I did. I decided that, I can be so much to many charities, so little, but so much to one. And it really, cancer has messed with the wrong chick. And just so you know, I'm really proud of my team at Moffitt Cancer.
Oh.
I'm backstage. Let me in.
No, you're good. I don't know how that happened. So finish what you were saying, that last part. Sorry, because it sounded important.
No, it's okay. So they invited me to sit on the board of Moffitt Cancer Center. I was like absolutely honored, and carrying on Marty's legacy. Marty Huizenga, who everyone who knows, the Huizengas are South Florida. They owned all the sports teams in South Florida: hockey, football, baseball, everything. And they're, blockbuster, great family. But Marty and I became really good friends through all this. And for me, she had a legacy, and that was Moffitt Cancer Center, and that was kicking cancer's butt. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take this on. They accepted me and onto the board. And since I've been on the board, they have found a cure for any of the HPV viruses, the cancers that are related to the HPV virus, because young women were being vaccinated for it, not
Yep.
men. But now we're vaccinating men. So guess what's gone away? Throat cancer practically, and a lot of the other 6 other cancers that are associated with the HPV virus that have caused cancer from that. So Moffitt has led that. And then recently, I'm really excited to announce that I sit on the executive committee of the breast department at Moffitt, as well as the board. And I was on a call, and we're like, listen, we have found the cure for reoccurring estrogen receptive breast cancer. And for me,
Wow.
as a breast cancer survivor, I know, right? That to say
Yes.
that I'm always doing this. I'm always looking for cancer like this because I'm always
Wow.
thinking it's going to come back. And so we have found a cure for reoccurring ER positive cancer. And that is in clinical studies right now. And if anyone is interested to learn more about it, please reach out to me. We are looking for not just, to get the word out, but there's a lot of funding that we need to continue.
And what's
in
the
order
best
to
way
get
they can reach you, Kim?
LinkedIn, all the social platforms. You can just email Kim at fbmarine.com. LinkedIn, I'm pretty popular on LinkedIn. Reach out to me, DM me. But really, like I said, the big thing is just stay humble. We have to
Yep.
stay humble, work hard, dream big, work hard, and stay humble. And then always, always, always find a silver lining in everything that you do. Every minute of every day, if something happens, it didn't happen for a reason. Find
Yep.
the message and learn from it and get 1% better every single day.
Well, thank you, Kim. My heart, man, you take us on this roller coaster today. Everyone obviously agrees.
Yeah, well, come see me at the boat show. I'm
We
here.
West Palm Beach Boat Show. That's where Kim is through the weekend. I'm going to take you off screen for a second, but I want to say a proper goodbye after we're done here. So give me half a second while I say goodbye to the audience. All right. I want to thank Kim for obviously sharing such a private. Could have been a private situation, private experience, but because of the way she shares her stories. It's the reason why we all get better as a community. And I definitely want to thank everyone on the first show, tuning in live, Christian White, Peter A., Randy Ostro, Stuart Goffman, Christy, my wife, Torisk, Andrea Sakanikas. That's tough names. Larry Long Jr., Donna Goldfarb, and Donna Goldfarb. So thanks every single person for tuning in today. If you know somebody who has a story to share, this is a brand new podcast. We would love to have them on here. This is how you get a hold of well, it doesn't work really well on this. So it's JEremy Torisk, Jeremy at Torisk Pro Advisors, or Jeremy Torisk at Gmail, or hit me up on LinkedIn, Jeremy Torisk, because this is the risk factor. And I still remind you, even though it's the risk factor, to always go pro. And thanks for watching.